Now, of course, Erba Pura is a fragrance that gets a lot of attention, right? I personally own a bottle of it. I've reviewed it. It's this beautiful, juicy, earthy, fruity, exotic type of a fragrance. Here we have one that came out last year in 2022. It's called Erba Leather. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this darker rendition or iteration of the original, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Erba Leather by Sospiro, I'll compare it to the original just a little bit because I don't want to make this a full-blown comparison video, but I'll tell you all about it. The notes, the smell, the performance, the evolution, longevity, so on and so forth. I do want to start the video off first though by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up. It would really, really mean a lot to me. And also, if you want to sample this fragrance, you know I don't recommend blind buys, but Max Aroma does carry Sospiro products. They carry a lot of designer and niche fragrances, really, really good prices. So if you just want to get your nose on it, get a little sample of it or a decant, see if you enjoy it, and then you can go ahead and commit to the purchase of a full-size bottle. I think Max Aroma is a great way of doing that. The link is going to be down below. It's not an affiliate link. I'm not making money by you making a purchase through that link. I just wanted to make you aware of them carrying the fragrance should you be interested in sampling it. Erba Pura I love, right? So it's juicy, it's passion fruit, it has all of these fruity, citrusy components to it that I think open up the composition very beautifully. Here we also have passion fruit, but we have leather, you have jasmine, sandalwood, you also have this vetiver note in the dried down that is pleasantly earthy. I think there's a touch of bergamot in the opening as well. Nevertheless, I'm going to let you know how much darker I think it is to the original. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. So in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get that fruitiness that you get from the original Erba Pura. And it's what I think people love about Erba Pura. And let's face it, it is such a popular fragrance. It has been cloned ad nauseum. You see clones of Aventus, Santal 33, Baccarat Rouge 540. I did an entire video dedicated to the most cloned fragrances. And you know Erba Pura is one of them. It is the biggest hit. And of course, it is juicy, it's different, and I've reviewed products, I think, from Al Haramain, and I know Kirke by Tiziana Terenzi smells similar to it, Dahab by Kajal smells similar to it. Well, here, Erba Leather, you have that fruitiness, but you have this added note of leather, just kind of thrown into the mix. And the best way that I can describe the leather here, it's funny, it reminds me a little bit of one of the Memo Paris leathers. I can't tell you which one it is. There's way too many to name. They have an entire collection dedicated to leather. I know some people online were comparing this to Milano by Fragrance du Bois, and I can kind of see that too, but at the end of the day, I think the leather in here, it's not a suede leather, so there isn't this smooth quality about it. It's not a Tom Ford ombre leather type of a leather either, so it's not that overdose of saffron. The leather in here smells more like Nagar Moda. So Nagar Moda, again, it's like this herbal ingredient. It's kind of spicy. It has a dark component to it. And of course, it makes sense because there's no such thing as leather oil, right? You cannot distill the essence from a fabric of leather. It's actually an accord. So it's a combination of other ingredients that come together to give the impression of leather. And that's specifically and precisely what's happening in here. So I get like this earthy, spicy tendency, and I'm sure the vetiver has a lot to do with it as well. But it's basically a darker version of Erba Pura. Now here's the thing. You still have the passion fruit, you still have the bergamot, you still have that brightness in there. And it's not one of those fragrances where you have to wait until the dry down to really pick up on the leather. No, you get it right away. So as soon as you spray it on, you get that duality between the dark and the bright and the fruity. And I really, really enjoyed this fragrance for that reason. It's not one of those fragrances that makes you wait it out so that you can experience the leather aspect that is glorified in the name of the fragrance. Personally, I really enjoyed this fragrance. I enjoy it very much. Of course, if I had to choose between this and the original for the winter time and perhaps even the fall, this is one where seasonally I would lean more towards Erba Leather. Of course, you have Erba Gold, you have a lot of variations of this DNA, and of course, given the popularity of the fragrance, it's not much of a surprise. But for me, as an all year round type of a scent, Erba Pura is the one that I would go for. Of course, if we're talking about seasonally, fall and winter, I would go with Erba Leather. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, for me personally, it is unique, all things considered. Now, interestingly enough, the original Erba Pura was composed by Chris Maurice. This one was composed by Christian Provenzano, totally different perfumer. So he kind of put his own spin on the Erba Pura DNA. It is unique and original, but it's a true flanker because you do still pick up on DNA of the original in here. So all things considered, I think it's very well done. I don't think it's going to have the mass appeal of Erba Pura though. So definitely try that one if you're looking for something with a mass appeal factor. If you're looking for something a little darker, a little more edgy, go with Erba Leather, of course. Longevity on this one is a solid 8 hours on skin. The projection was really good for the first hour of application. It radiated within an arm's length, and it became a elbow's length scent right around hour 5.5 or 6, a skin scent right around hour 8. Versatility on this one, myself personally, I would wear it in the colder weather, so autumn and winter. Perfectly unisex. Some people might argue that it's a bit masculine leaning because of the leather, but for me personally, I think it's perfectly unisex. Great for formal occasions, great for somebody who's a little bit older as well. And in terms of the presentation, I think Sospiro presentations are really nice. The fabric on the bottle here, the gold hardware. My final verdict on this fragrance is if you are a fan of Erba Pura, you're looking for a darker iteration of that fragrance, you're a fan of leather and you don't mind that spicy, earthy leather, but not in the direction of saffron, check this one out. I think you're going to enjoy it. Look, thank you so much for joining me today. That was my review of Erba Leather by Sospiro. Max Aroma has it. You can sample it from them. All of the links are going to be down below. I hope you took something of value from today's episode. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. My dog is barking in the background. I apologize for that. Probably means I have another package at the doorstep, a new fragrance to review. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.